YouTube, what's good? It's your boy TD from FantasyGoodeSports, and I'm back again with another video. Let's hit these waiver wires up today, guys, so we can get ahead in these leagues and win these leagues. So what's up, Matt?
Hey man, everything's good, baby. We're going into week 3. It's getting riled up. We had a bunch of injuries to, pop off. I know a lot of you Saquon owners, CMC feeling kind of bad right about now, but we got some players that you can kind of plug and play, especially with CMC, because he's only going to be out what they said typically between 3 to 4 weeks, maybe 6 at the most. So he has a chance to come back, but Saquon done for the year. Sad to say, but anyway, we got some gold for you. We got some players.
Actually, some people might be happy with the injuries, I'm not. I love football. I'm not trying to be happy for an injury, but if you draft it right, you should be happy because these guys are scrambling on the waiver wire, and you good. So if I was you, I would pick up some of these waiver wire players and wheel and deal with these guys and make your team even better, guys. So let's get started, Matt. Go ahead. I'll let you start.
Yeah, so it depends on you guys' waivers and stuff, and when they popped off and everything. A lot of them went off last night. Some even prior to that. But we got some guys that if they're sitting on your waiver wires, definitely you need to go out and cop them right now. One of the first ones, we were talking about Darrell Henderson. That whole situation in LA. It's been in a flux. McVay at the beginning of the season was talking about doing a committee, and he held to that, but circumstances have now shown that potentially Darrell Henderson is going to have an opportunity to seize that role. Cam Akers is hurt right now. Brown, I think he broke his finger, or he has a finger injury. I'm not quite sure the logistics.
It's a pinky.
Yeah. So, and running backs, you said,
Yes.
you play the position, your hands is everything, you know what I'm saying? And it just depends on the severity and the mental mindset of the player. Some players could play with injuries. The great Kobe Bryant, I know it's a whole nother sport, but this guy had so many different injuries. Man, I remember one time they showed him on the sidelines, he jammed his finger, and I think he got dislocated. He went on the sidelines, the trainer popped it right back out. Man, he didn't flinch, didn't do nothing, he just walked off. And I think he ended up with 40 that thing. But that's neither here nor there. But as far as Darrell Henderson is concerned, this past Sunday he had 12 rushes for 81 yards and a rushing TD, ended up with 21 points. The man can catch too. If any of you guys, you remember back in Memphis,
yeah.
Some of you guys, if y'all ain't seen him, go check him out, some of his old Memphis tapes, and see the work that he put in and all the attributes that he's got. The dude he's really, in my opinion, and I think you probably agree with this, he should be the bell cow. And I think with this opportunity, with these other guys being hurt, he's going to be able to show them that he can take that load. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? The one thing I would combat a little bit what you're saying is, Sean McVay comes from the Shanahan tree.
Right.
And they have a mode where running backs coming down a dozen.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they just trying to have a stable of backs like San Francisco had last year.
Right.
And just rotate them in and let them do what they do. So guys, to me, they are string backs. I wouldn't have one and count on him week to week and say he's a bell cow, but I would stream and watch what they do. If if one of them hurt and nicked up, then I would maybe play another one and that was more like in the pass game. So Cam Akers is out. So Darrell Henderson is going to get a lot of the pass work. Malcolm Brown is not a great pass receiver, but he's good in the red zone.
Yeah.
So I would play Darrell Henderson this week. I would play Darrell Henderson as long as Cam Akers out because he's the pass back.
Right.
So this is they are streaming back just like last year when you had to stream Mostert or Wilson or Breeder. It just depends on what the matchup was. And sometimes you even missed in. So I'm not. That's not my number one waiver wire, but I would pick them up if I could. If I had room on my bench just to see what's going to go down, and maybe another one gets hurt, and you have a bell cow.
Yeah, and especially if some of you guys, if y'all play in dynasty leagues, Darrell Henderson is a very good option.
Yes.
Because like I said, going forward, and in my opinion, like I said, Cam is a great player. I think he's got a lot of potential, but again, he's a rookie, and sometimes it takes a while, for rookie, especially running backs, to make the transition collegiate level to the pro game, because there's so much they got to learn, pass pro, all of that stuff. And we've had this COVID season, shortened season, where you didn't get a lot of off-season work. So he might be kind of, I don't want to say on the back end, but he's got a lot, he's catching up a little bit. And then by him having this injury now, if he misses 2 to 3 weeks, it's going to be hard for Darrell, in my opinion, to give up that starting role, especially if he goes out and continues to give you double-digit points every week.
Do you know what he averaged in college per rush?
Darrell? I want to say it was about 4.9 a carry.
If I could be off a little bit, but I think I would hear like 8 yards a carry.
It's probably right. Man, that whole Memphis squad, it's like they produce backs.
Yes.
The guy we're going to be talking about here in a little bit too, Antonio Gibson comes from there. Tony Pollard. It was a receiver.
Anthony Miller.
Yep, Anthony Miller. So it's like a lot
Ashton Lentz.
Exactly. It's a lot of hybrid type players, man.
Yep.
That they just, they produce
Good
them out of
coaching
Memphis.
staff.
Exactly.
Yep.
So anyway, to recap, me and TD both, we say Darrell Henderson is a good pickup.
Even for trade bait. Yep.
Exactly. Another guy, and again, everybody, like we talked about at the very beginning with CMC, even though he's going to be out, let's say at the max 6 games. One good thing about it, Carolina's bye week is not till like week, I want to say 11, something like that. It's very late.
Okay.
I got to go back and look at it, but they have one of the latest bye week schedules. So CMC comes back, within that time frame, you're still gonna have opportunity to play him. So with Mike Davis is the next guy we want to talk about, and again, if he's still out there on waivers, he'll be a good plug and play, at least for the time being.
Yeah, I mean, so when I heard Christian McCaffrey going down, I was like, okay, I ain't worried about that. I'm not going after anybody out there at offense. And then the next morning, I go look at the stats, and I seen this guy had 8 catches and like 1 carry. So I thought it was the other way around in the fourth quarter. So I thought it was the other way around.
Right.
And I think that they would trust another back to be a passing, like in the pass route.
Right.
I didn't think they would trust anybody else. And I didn't think I know Mike Davis could catch. But when I seen the way they used him, and then Matt Rule confirmed it the next day in the press conference.
Right.
Guys, I jumped on him in one of my leagues. And I didn't even need him, but I could use him for a flex and guaranteed 15 points. I believe it, because he's going to get all the red zone work. Right. And I don't believe Reggie Bonafide was going to come in there and take that. So I thought they was going to do, Reggie, you in the pass, but Mike Davis, you're going to be the bell cow in the red zone or the green zone. But no, Mike Davis is going to get all that work. So guys, for 5 weeks, have that guy. Long as Christian McCaffrey out, I will have him. And also, when Christian come back, wait and see, because what they might do, Christian ankle might rotate a little bit. Maybe use Christian in the passing game and then let him bail count until Christian comes back at 100%, because Christian has got a contract. You don't want him having a lingering ankle injury for the rest of his career because you wanted to bring him back too early. Yeah, because also, I was on Mike early in the off season, because I think we had a conversation about this, even before the draft and stuff, when we were talking about the usage of backs, how they worked. And Christian McCaffrey had a crazy workload last year. The past 2 years, but last year was just ridiculous. And it was talk about them scaling it back a tad bit. Even if they scaled it back 20%, he's still an RB1, top 3 RB1. So to your point, like you're saying, even when he comes back, I think they're going to use Mike Davis a lot more. For security.
Yeah.
For safe of injury reasons.
Yeah. Even if it's 70-30 or 70-30 split, within that offense and how Joe Brady does, look at what he did at LSU.
With Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Exactly. He loves to get, backs in space. So Mike Davis could still be a flex play even when Christian McCaffrey comes back, especially if he continues to produce in these, let's say, 4 games that Christian is out. And, he averages about 15 PPR points a game. It's going to be key going forward.
And also, like I said, if you don't need him and you got the #1 waiver wire, or you got him on your bench, that's trade value.
Yep.
You can trade and get something better. So guys, you're always trying to will and deal to make your team complete for the playoff run. Because a lot of guys, look at my team, look at all these names. I got Julio, I got all these guys. but you get to the playoffs, you get beat.
Yeah.
So you got to be willing and dealing and making your team great for the playoff run. Also, you want to get in the playoffs, but you also need to build a team for the playoffs. So look at the schedules from 13 to 16.
Exactly. So let's go on to the next guy. We again, like I said, some of these guys that we're talking about mainly are like very, very good PPR backs, and that's what typically most
people play.
Formats people play in nowadays. But Jared McKinnon is another guy, especially you looking at
Jared McKinnon.
Yeah, man. He was a thing. 3 years ago, right? That last year when he was with Minnesota, man. Oh my goodness.
Man, I just feel bad for the guy.
Yeah.
Because first I'm like, I know the Shanahans, and he was like, they went and got him, and he was a backup running back to AP. Right. And I was like, they must have scouted this guy in college and know that he's gonna be great in the pass game. Right. So they pay him a bunch of money. No backup running back has ever got that type of money, and he goes out with a knee injury in training camp. Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, well, next year, because he got like a 4-year deal. He goes out again with the same knee injury that didn't heal right. I'm like, wow. So what y'all got? So they got all these other backs to come in like Mostert. And they still keep McKinnon and don't release him. So I'm like, guys, when stuff like that happen, when you bring in guys like Mostert and Breida and they perform the way they do, and you still keep McKinnon there, that's telling you they like McKinnon. And this is why they like him the last 2 games. So McKinnon's been showing off. I have him in my league. I think he's a play all through the year. No matter what Mostert come back or Tevin Campbell comes back, I think that he's gonna get the catches in there. He's gonna go out in the pass route. So I don't believe that his value is going to be depleted at all, no matter who's in the backfield.
No, and like you said, Coleman, man, he's a good pass catching back, but really Jared McKinnon is probably the best receiving back they got. In that whole
and can run between the tackles too.
Exactly. So if he's out there, like I said, he'd be a good pickup. This past week he had like 3 rushing attempts, 77 receiving yards. 77 rushing yards, and a TD, which had him at around about 13, points a game, just depending upon y'all's particular scoring system and everything. But he'd be a good one to pick up. So now we want to try to get into a few tight ends. You can probably speak more on this because that's your team,
you know what I'm saying?
The Cowboys. But Dalton Schultz, man, he just came out of nowhere. I mean, sometimes it's the way it go in football. Injuries produce opportunities, and you get the old saying, the next man up. Yeah. Everybody got to be ready. You know what I'm saying? And Dalton Schultz was ready. Dak was peppering him, 10 targets, 9 receptions. He had a TD. So, man, that to me is good. To get 10 targets
at the
tight end position, that's rare. You're talking about a top tier level like a Zach Ertz, now Goddard, Kelsey. You know Andrews. What I'm saying? Andrews. It's only a rare breed that's going to get targeted like that. Even for the quarterback to even trust him. And this guy is coming off the bench, not even the starter, and they giving him that type of targets. The game was really, it's necessarily not really the game flow. But Dak looked at him and was like, okay, I can trust him, going out in space, underneath the zone, giving Zeke a little time. I've seen him a couple times he go out and he'll block a little bit, but the red zone, man, they was looking for him. So Dalton Schultz is a good opportunity.
I have a little difference of opinion. I like him. And if you need a tight end, there's some guys out there for you to go get, like Sample from Cincinnati. Yeah. And then Dalton Schultz because of what happened with Blake Jarr. He's just a placeholder, guys. So if Dallas is in the shootout, they're going to give him targets. But would I trust him in a good game? No. Just like trusting Blake Jarr in a tight game. I don't trust that tight end. So if you got other tight ends, I might go after. I just don't trust that for the rest of the season. But I do think he's a streamer. So if you need a tight end, get him. Don't never, the guy that got 10 targets, if you need a tight end, you go get him. But I just don't think he's a bell cow tight end. And when I say bell cow, that every week, I'm plugging and playing him. He's just a streamer to me.
Yeah. And, like I said, it depends on your league settings and your availability on your bench. You know, if you got a deep bench and you can just plug him and say, hey, we're gonna see
what's gonna happen.
What's gonna happen if this is just a one and done type deal, just a 1 week situation, then you can just release him, let him go. But this year's been so crazy. It's been, and it happens every year, man. You'll get certain people, they'll end up booming. Sometimes it takes about week 5, week 6 before we start seeing real big boomers. But now with all these injuries and stuff, coming down, this whole season's been crazy. So we're starting to see more talent come to the surface early.
Yeah.
So again, if you got the opportunity and the space, just it wouldn't hurt to pick him up. Just sit him down and see what happens. If he does it again this week, you're ahead of the curve.
I will speak for one league. If you're in a fantasy league, I mean not a fantasy, but a dynasty league, you take Dalton Schwartz because he's young. Yeah. So this guy's playing for a long time. So he can get better and then be a focal point in this offense that Dallas like to use the tight end. So yeah, I would take him in a dynasty, but I'm not picking him up for a bell cow play at tight end every week. I'm just gonna pick him up for a stream.
Right.
Or if your tight ends are hurt, then yeah, I would pick him up and play him.
Exactly. Especially if you're a Kittle owner, something like that. He might be a good. Because I guarantee he's probably low owned in most leagues right now. Because a lot of people are going after this next guy we're about to talk about.
And this is one of my favorite guys. Just check out my channel. My tight ends, my top 10 tight ends starting in 2020 year.
Yeah, Mike Gesicki. So Mike Gesicki, and I had to give this man credit because we talked about this last year, and he was on him last year. Was talking about how he saw how they were using him in the office and everything. And I saw game film on him this past week, and I didn't realize how much they use him in the slot. It's rare you're gonna find them using a tight end. You would think somebody like Evan Ingram, which he's basically a big receiver.
Yep, exactly.
But Gesicki, he's physically talented, but you wouldn't expect his size to be put in the slot like that. And Fitzmagic he was looking for him.
Guys, go to his combine numbers 2 years ago. He had some of the best combine numbers that a tight end had ever had. That's saying a lot with Vernon Davis and these guys. Yeah. He ran like a 4.5. He ran like a 4.5. He jumped like almost a 40-inch vertical. I mean, he had a extraordinary combine, but. Right. So they took him off of that. He wasn't what had a lot of value in college, but they took him off of what he did at the combine.
Right.
And he's learning the game. And tight end is the hardest position on offense to come in and get ready to play because you got to learn the block fits, and you got to learn the pass routes. And the pass route ain't just the same. Sometimes you have to chip. So you have to learn all that and learn how to run the routes. And this might be their time now. He might be primed and ready. Right. He's going in the slot because he's fast. He ran like a low 4.5. Right. So you can't. It's like he's gonna post you like a power forward. How you gonna stop that at the slot? You got no corners, can't go in there too small, and linebackers are too slow. So this guy is a mismatch. So I was just waiting. I put him on the waiver wire because I had to make some moves, but I knew people weren't gonna get him. So I saved my money when he showed me that he was ready. So what he did last week, I'm going after him, guys. This is a guy you can play double tight. So if you already got a tight end, you can put him in the flex. Yes, I said it because he's going to get 10 targets from now on going out because the game flow, especially when Miami's playing good teams. Right. The game flow is going to be directed towards him with getting a lot of targets. And that's what you look for in fantasy.
Exactly. And especially their defense is garbage. So they're going to be in shootouts.
I wouldn't call them garbage, but just give them a little bit of time because I like the corners that they have.
Right. They got some young corners. Again, time will tell.
Time will tell. Yes,
but you're right, and that's what happens a lot of times with a young defense. Mm-hmm. You think about Jacksonville years ago.
Exactly.
Man, it takes a little bit.
Or Pittsburgh, your boys.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we don't get on that right there, but because they got a lot of young talent as well. Just like to your point, man. When you get them young like that, they gel together, they get their cohesiveness. Yep. It's just like on the offensive side of the ball. You got to have communication. Sometimes it's the unsaid stuff. You know what I mean? And when you got that chemistry and cohesiveness with other people on that line or your DBs, you just know. It's just a lot of things that when you're playing with each other and you got that, it's almost like I don't want to say telepathy, but it's just something.
It's like telepathy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know where
you know the space where he need to be,
Yep.
so that way you can cheat here.
Yep, there you go.
You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
So it's a lot involved. But yeah, Mike Gesicki is another good pickup. One other guy I wanted to talk about, man, that he's probably low on in a lot of leagues right now, and he had a decent game this past week. He was only like one big play. But me and you talked about this guy, and again, yeah, he's from one of my favorite teams, actually my favorite team of all time, Pittsburgh Steelers. That's Chase Claypool. Dude's a beast. He right now is factoring in as their fourth receiver. But you got to understand, you look at the receivers they got with Juju, Deontay, James Washington, and then Claypool. But mark my words, Claypool is inching up each week. He's gonna take out one of them guys out, and I pretty much would almost guarantee it maybe Washington. Mm-hmm. He's gonna factor in because he's getting more targets each week,
and he's gonna take targets from Juju.
Exactly.
Because eventually, when they come down to prime and ready, see, Juju is good, guys, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I just want to give them this soliloquy real quick. So, reason why Chase Claypool is gonna be such a boomer, and you should pick him up, is you look at the receivers. The Deontay Johnson is a stud. I like him. I love him. Guys, pick him up too. And if he's out there on your waivers. But Juju is a slot big guy, kind of like an Anquan Bolden. So he needs guys on the outside to help stretch the field to create mismatches for him. So Claypool is going to do that for the whole team. Now, Deontay is a man. He can do it on his own, but Claypool, with him stretching the field like he is a young stud,
right?
It's going to help it. It's going to open it up for Juju. So Juju, it's going to be solid, but I think Claypool, by the end of the year, when y'all get around to play playoffs, they're going to be like, hey, Claypool is the go-to, man.
Exactly.
He's the one going to be making the difference, making the big catches, opening the offense up to keep everything going. For Connor can score, Juju can get peppered, and Deontay can do what he do his thing.
Yeah, I mean, and he provides that mismatch. He's I don't want to say prototypical big receiver, but he has those attributes of someone like Megatron, Julio,
he
people like that.
He said Megatron. I did not say Megatron.
Yeah,
he said
I'm staking my analyses on that. I've called out a lot of big people, or players, sleepers and stuff in time past, and that's, to me, is what I see. I'm not going out and say this is his first year that boom, he's gonna be just like Megatron, but he has the potential and the attributes to bring to the Steelers the same type of where the defense has got a scheme for this guy, and the mismatches that he causes. Because once they put him on the outside like that, ain't no DB gonna be able to guard him one-on-one. I don't know of any DB that has the physical stature or strength or speed
or jumping ability.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
See what I'm saying?
And no other receiver on the Steelers got that. That's why he's going to create the mismatches for everybody else to keep eating.
Yeah.
I seen it last week. I'm like, wow, he might not be the best right now, but by the middle of the season, he might be the people like, we got to double team this guy. Because he's young. You know how them young whippersnappers come out there?
Yes, sir. So look,
just whippersnapper.
Yeah. Yay. But this is what we saying right here. If you got bench space, go on, snag him up. And again, he's like a boom or bust play because like this past week, he had him and being connected for an 84-yard TD. You know what I'm saying? And I think he might have ended up with like 15 points or something just off that one play. Big Ben is finding more confidence in him, along with the coaching staff. They feel real confident in using him in the offense. So, like I said, this is game 3 coming up. He might get peppered this week. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you need to get ahead of the curve.
Explain to him when you say pepper. Explain to him
pepper.
Because this is
yeah, word. That's my little term. Basically,
I use it too because he say it all the time.
It's just pretty much when a quarterback pretty much targets a guy so much, that's just my little term. He'll pepper him. I mean, he pretty much, regardless of the, he's almost like a safety blanket in a sense. But he gets so many targets. Excuse me. It's just like you get peppered. You're just getting, bombarded with targets, and he's becoming one of those guys in this Pittsburgh Steelers offense. It's gonna be crazy. So go ahead and pick him up. One other thing, this is another guy, which he kind of goes into the other segment that I wanted us to talk about, man, about the buy low candidates.
Okay.
Some people that maybe we may have talked about, or other people have talked about, or you might even picked up in waivers last week, and they may have not performed up to par. You got a buy low opportunity. One in particular is Nyheim Hines. It's a lot of leagues that I've seen, that I've been in personally, they dropped it. Now, don't get along. He had one target. But you got to understand something. They're not shying away from him. And we believe in sample sizes. You got to have a sample size of a few games. Now, if he goes a few games and he's not getting targets, then we understand something. We know this is a trend.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? We know that, okay, they're deciding to go in a different direction with the offense. They knew Jonathan Taylor's a beast. We know that.
Bell cow.
He is a generational talent. He's on, when you speak of him, you speaking to guys like Saquon, Zeke. Jonathan Taylor is that. Especially this last game. And then they got up, so the game flow dictated that he pretty much, controlled the tempo. They didn't need Nyheim. The game one, they needed Nyheim. With the game flow, they peppered him with a lot of targets and everything like that. So, long story short, to recap it all, Nyheim Hines is a great buy low candidate, or you can just pick him up off the waivers because they're going to use him. It's going to be opportunities. And Phil Rivers, throughout history, he's had that type of back where he uses him as a safety blanket. Anytime that it's going to be hard at times because his offensive line is so good. But if there is a situation where the line breaks down to a certain degree, he gets in trouble, boom, he's throwing it out to Nyheim. You know what I'm saying? So, in my opinion, I think Nyheim would be a great pickup.
I'm not that big on Nyheim. I didn't play him this week. I had him on my bench, but I didn't play him, and that was a great decision. One league I did play him in, but the other league I didn't. But I would say if I have him, I would trade for him. Or I would just keep him on my bench and just wait till a bye week and just see what goes on. Don't count on him because a lot of guys hit me up in the comment section and was like, what about Nyheim? Guys, I said he's the top waiver wire pickup. That don't mean he's the top start. So just pick him up and keep him on your bench and see what goes down. Maybe Taylor get nicked up. I don't hope that don't happen, but maybe Taylor get nicked up. Maybe he gets more run that way. But also look at that game script. If they play in Kansas City, then yeah, you play Nyheim because they're gonna be in the passing downs more. Well, possibly because it could be where they get running and Taylor get going and they don't need Nyheim.
Exactly.
But it's all about that. So what happened? They was down, so they needed Nyheim, and he was cashing in.
Exactly.
So it's all about game script. Just watch. If you think that they're gonna be a high scoring game, so follow Vegas. If you see 48 points, 52 points, play your pass catching backs because that's gonna be a more opportunity, more third downs. You're not gonna see nobody run to 56 points. Both teams gonna run to 56 points. No, it's gonna be a lot of passing. So I'm picking Nyheim for game script. If I know they got to keep up with a heavy offense pace team, then I'm taking Nyheim. If not, I'm leaving him alone.
Yeah, I agree. Another guy, man, and this is somebody me and you both talked about, and I go on record and say, because early on throughout the year, we do a lot of game films. We watch a lot of tape and stuff like that.
Especially in college. I watch them out and this guys, I got this stuff coming to y'all. Just give me time. I'm big into college scouting. And I'm going to have a Patreon for y'all to get on where I'm going to give you all about 12, maybe even more of guys just to watch. Especially for your dynasty, because I feel like dynasty leagues are getting bigger. So I'm going to tell you guys that you can get like in the late rounds. Don't nobody know nothing about. They ain't on. But I've been scouting these guys and know that they can fit in the offensive schemes in the pro this time and day. Because the college scheme is coming to the pros. So there's a lot of guys that like Antonio Gibson, they're not getting a lot of work in college, but they fit perfect into a scheme because they are a hybrid. So yeah.
And that's who we're talking about. Antonio Gibson. He's a guy that a lot of people right now, they could have dropped him, or he's just still sitting out there on waivers.
Exactly.
Trade for him.
If you got to.
I
would trade Nyheim Hines right now for Antonio Gibson.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Even though I'm still high on Nyheim, but I'm higher on Gibson. And like I said, my man, he turned me on to him early in the off season. I was looking at film on a lot of guys, Dylan, different other people, but he showed me. He said, "Man, yo, check out my man right here." once I started watching film on the guy, I was like, holy smokes. You know, you could see, especially the way in the direction that the game is going in the NFL right now. And then when he landed in Washington, it was a wrap. I was like, yo, this is going to be crazy because of the situation, because of Scott Turner, because of Riverboat Ron, with how he likes to use the offense, use backs in space, especially pass catching backs. And that's what Antonio Gibson did. You know, a lot of people want to talk about his sample size and things of that nature when he was at Memphis, but you got to look beyond that. Look at the talent. Look at what he brings to the table. It's all about schemes. I'm a real big believer in schemes, offensive schemes.
Yep.
Especially coming from being a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Look at how we do every year, man. You could put I don't care what back it is. You put that back in that Pittsburgh Steelers offense, he gonna be a top 10 back. It hasn't. We hadn't had one. Go back and look at history. We hadn't had one yet that didn't finish or was teeter-totter within that top 10, top 15 range as far as fantasy is concerned. But yeah, Antonio Gibson is a great buy low. Go out there and get him. His snap percentage is going up every week. His targets, his routes, everything is increased. So when you see a trend where people are starting to increase, that's when you need to buy now because here's the thing, he gonna fool around and this week, boom, he have a 25-point game. You ain't gonna be able to get him unless you got the number 1 waiver wire.
Who was the back that you was telling me about earlier? Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
You remember Alvin Kamara didn't even really start bell cowling really until like the 4th game of the season? After they got rid of AP?
Exactly.
So, guys, this is how you win leagues. This is how you win leagues. So so right now, Gibson, I loved when he had 6 points because I didn't get the draft, so somebody took him. He had 6 points and then he had like 13 points this week, right?
Yeah.
So guys, he's trending up. By the time like week 8, 9, this guy gonna be having 20 points a game. They just getting him acclimated because he only had 33 carries, and they don't want to just rush him in there and he get injured or something. So every week he's getting better. So now you can trade for him, and then the guys, once you get that trade, the guys you traded for him, they're gonna be like, man, you tricked me, bro. You tricked me. You're gonna be on game. So go after Antonio Gibson right now, guys. I love him. Yeah. Like I said, I done a video on him before the season started. I was one of the first guys on him. Check out my Twitter and my YouTube. I was one of the first guys on Antonio Gibson. And then, and I, me and him, we do this YouTube together. I had told him about him, man. He was like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah.
And he went way in the rabbit hole as far as watching stats. He told me, he said, "Terry, he gonna start as a rookie." I said, "Man, come on now. He might get, like Christian McCaffrey, being a number 2, come in on pass downs." And then they let AP go, and I looked at him. I said, "Bruh, you right?
Yeah.
He said, it scared him." I said, "Oh my God, AP go? They gonna let?
Yeah.
They not letting AP go because AP still is a hell of a runner."
Oh, absolutely.
So to let him go and give the Gibson shows you what they think of Gibson.
Exactly. They see the raw talent, and they see the potential that he has and what he can bring, especially in that system. Like I said, that because if you look back last year, at the end of last year, how they were using Christian McCaffrey, Scott Turner, and them, and basically Ron Wavier said this. A lot of people kind of like, oh, whatever, Ron just talking. No, you'll see. But he compared him to Christian McCaffrey. Now imagine this. We talking about CMC, a great back, but Antonio Gibson is 6'2", 235 pounds. No, 238 pounds.
I'm about to say, because they lied.
238
I seen
pounds.
that dude about 250.
Yeah.
I said what I said.
Solid. Runs a 4.3, 40-inch vertical. So body-wise, he's bigger than Christian. So we basically talking about a bigger Christian McCaffrey. You might, and I said, like my man said, I said what I said. he is that. But you'll see. But trust our word. I'm telling you. If you got an opportunity, go ahead and get him now. Have him on your squad because I'm telling you, it's gonna be too late.
Trade for him.
Yeah.
Like I would take, if I had Mike Davis, I would trade for him to get Antonio Gibson. You got anybody that you would trade? Naeem Hines.
Yeah.
I would trade for him. This is edgy.
Right.
This is what I'm about to say. It's very edgy, but I'm thinking about doing it in my league. I don't like the workload that's going on with Austin Eckler and Joshua Kelly.
Right.
And I think it's killing Eckler value.
Right.
And I don't know what Herb is going to do. So maybe I should wait. But to me, I would take Austin Eckler right now and trick the Antonio Gibson owner and get Antonio Gibson on my team. Yes, I said it.
Yeah.
Because I believe at the end of the year, Austin Eckler ain't gonna be able to compete with his numbers because he ain't gonna be getting the work that Antonio Gibson get. So it's just his upside is crazy, bro.
And again, I see it, and I agree with you 100% because, like I said, it's all about systems. It shifted once Rivers left, and then they pretty much shifted the whole philosophy, in LA. Now it's like they really not really doing it. Like my man said, they not targeting him like that. Phillip Rivers is a check down guy. Herbert now, who's he's at the helm, he's slinging that ball. You know what I'm saying? And I have to be the first one to admit, because I'm a big Tyrod fan, and that's a whole nother story. We can get on that at another time, but I still feel like Tyrod's got great talent, but they're just handicapping Tyrod. They're not allowing Tyrod to be who he is. If you go back and look at his early days in Buffalo, when he had Greg Roman, Tyrod was doing his thing. Who does your boy got in Baltimore? Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Greg Roman.
Yep.
Who did Colin Kaepernick have?
Greg Roman.
See what I'm saying? So it's all about a system. So going back, in a nutshell, like what TD was saying, here's the thing. Eckler is a great talent, but the system is not really fitting him right now. You got to get the man out of space. You got to get him. He's a pass catching back. He's not a bell cow. And they showing you right now. Hey, we know we like Eckler, but we're gonna give Kelly this run.
All the workload.
You see what I'm saying? So that's not crazy. What you said, I would do it. Go get Gibson. Gibson is the man.
We got to be the only channel saying this, guys. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll accept it. But if we right, this is why you come to this channel and get this type of content.
Yep.
Cutting edge all day.
In order to win, how you win fantasy football championships, you got to be cutting edge. You got to be ahead of the curve. You got to be able to get guys and listen to people who can see certain things, like, yo, that kid gonna be nice or whatever, before anybody else does, because that's the key. This waiver wire thing, the draft is one part of it.
It's one part.
Waiver wires every week, working your waiver wires and picking up players way before anybody else is on them. Even if you get players and use them as trade bait, that's how you win championships. That's how you build your team.
I agree 100%, bro.
I tell you, man. So you want to go ahead and talk about Thursday night's game, or you got some?
I want to talk about one other receiver.
Okay.
Brandon Cooks. Now, he didn't have a good first week, and he had a decent second week. But Will Fuller can't handle the number one receiver role. Brandon Cooks, if he can stay concussion free, and that's an if.
Right.
He is the number one receiver in there, so he's gonna get peppered. Well, you remember what he said? Pepper. He's going to get peppered in this offense. So I love Brandon Cooks. So guys, get Brandon Cooks. I don't know how to get him. Like, if you got to find receivers, then fine. Don't go out and get rid of one of your bell cow receivers for him. But if you playing the flex role and he's out there, go get Brandon Cooks and keep him there, because I believe that Brandon Cooks can finish high in PPR. Now, in full, like, regular scoring format, I don't know. But PPR, I love Brandon Cooks, because I believe he might get more targets than anybody else for the rest of the year, because who's Deshaun Watson gonna count on?
Exactly. And I'll be one of the first ones to admit, early on going into the season, I thought it was gonna be Will Fuller. Once they made that transition and they traded for David Johnson, I was even one of the ones that was high on David, which in one of my leagues I had him, and then after he had that first good game, and I watched it, and when I came to you the next day, I was like, yo,
That's
man,
a trade,
I'm about to trade him, because the way Deshaun Jackson plays, he's
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Deshaun Watson. He's not a check down quarterback. He don't do that. You know what I'm saying? He gonna add that mug out, and if he gets in trouble, he gonna use his legs, which we get it, because that's one of his attributes. That's his strength. But in order to get DJ in space and to be able to use his full potential, you're gonna have to check down to him, get him out of space, get him out there on a DB if a safety's come up, or a linebacker. You know what I'm saying? They're not doing that, and you'll see later on. So that's another thing. If any of you guys got David Johnson, you might want to trade him now while his value is at its peak, because after this week, because they're going up against the Steelers.
Yeah.
Hey, Devin Bush ain't having.
No.
You feel me? T.J. Watt. So anyway, but I agree with you 100%, man. Brandon Cooks is a great buy low candidate. He's got a high ceiling, and again, just like Deshaun Watson used to pepper D-Hop, he might be the one that is the straight benefactor. Of
him or one of the tight ends. I'm just throw him out there real quick. Atkins and Fales. So I love Atkins. He's a sleeper, and I love Fales too. But Fuller's not going to be getting a lot of value. He's going to be for the big play, maybe with 3 catches, 3, 4. You can count on that. But as far as the 8 to 12 targets, that's Cook's alley all day if he's healthy.
Oh yeah, indeed, man. So he'll be a good buy low candidate. But yeah, so any more you want to talk about?
No, good. We can get on to the
Thursday night game. So hey, this is a big one here. A lot of people big as far as fantasy is concerned, not necessarily big in real football. You know what I mean? Because it's the Jags and Miami. But as far as fantasy is concerned, you got Minshew. He balling out of control right now. He's one of these guys.
Got to pick him because he's out there on something. Because if you don't have a 2-quarterback league, he's probably out there. Guys, he's probably going to outperform like Drew Brees, maybe even Aaron Rodgers. Yes, I said it. He may even outperform Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, maybe even Tannehill. Tannehill's having a great year too. Yeah. But I love Minshew, guys. So go pick Minshew up if he out there. If you have Mitchell Trubisky or somebody that is teeter-totter, go get Minshew. And I think he's going to be a bell cow scorer every week.
Absolutely. He's one of those players. Like you said, if he's on the waiver wires this week, you might need to pick him up, especially if you're kind of weak or you've been streaming quarterbacks. Well, you get him, you ain't gonna have to stream no more until his bye week.
Yep.
Then you might have to work out something, or whatever. But I wouldn't drop him. I would, make room to keep him. I agree with him 100%. I think he's gonna have an exceptional year. He's got talent around him that's starting to bloom, so to speak. DJ Chark, he's doing his thing. Even though he's got a small injury, I think it's nothing really too concerned. I think he's actually gonna play Thursday. But Laviska Shenault is another guy that me and him both are high on.
And we told you that last week. So guys, I love Shenault. I mean, I did worry a little bit about him taking Minshew value. I was thinking that maybe in the red zone they can use him in like a kind of like a wildcat, and help for the run game. But maybe they might not do that because they have James Robinson.
Yeah.
So they might not even have to do that. But I love Shenault.
Yeah,
especially if you need a flex in your league.
I think the way he's going to mainly be, they actually used him this past Sunday almost as a change of pace back. He got I think it was like 5 or 6 carries. Dude looks nice. He's a nice size a receiver, so he can do that. Kind of like Cordell Patterson in a sense. He kind of puts you in that mind frame.
Might be a better route runner though. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's but the offense that's around Minshew, a lot of people not on Jacksonville's offense right now. And everybody was kind of down when they lost Fournette or let him go. But James Robinson's balling. This kid, he's hungry. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's a great talent. Cole. Who else?
Keenan
Cole. What's the other receiver there?
Tyler
Eifert. The tight end. And Conley. At times, man, Conley.
He was a workout warrior.
I actually thought that he was going to do better when he was with Kansas City. But that just didn't work out. You know what I'm saying? But he's an exceptional talent. And then, on the flip side of the coin, you're looking at Miami, like the second we were talking about. He's another player that you want to look at, especially if you're playing like DSF line. Gesicki, I don't think he's that expensive. He might have ran, I think last time I looked at, not DraftKings, but FanDuel, I think he was around about 5,500, something like that. But anyway, just check it. But Gesicki would be a great play as far as DSF's concerned. Fitzpatrick, he's up and down, but if you ain't got any other better options at quarterback, he'll be a good one. Because I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. In my opinion, I think it's going to be a high-scoring. You're probably looking at around about, 23 to 30, somewhere in there. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be around about 50 plus, something like that.
I love the whole Jags offense. I love it. I think they have a chance to go to the playoffs. A chance. I like Miami, but they just trying to get everything together. So I believe it can be a high-scoring game, and I would attack a lot of these players on the Jacksonville. If you got them, I would start them. From Charnot, from Robinson to Chark, and then maybe you could, for a flex pill, you could play King Cole.
Yeah. I mean, he had a pretty good game last week. He actually out-targeted Chark.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the thing I like about, even though Chark's going to get his. Chark is the clear number one. But they got this young receiving talent around Minshew. To me, that brings more value for Minshew. And also with J-Rob there, I mean, he's a bell cow. You know, he's getting a few touches out of the backfield.
Fresh legs, because, remember running backs that come out of smaller schools. You like those because they ain't been, ran in the SEC 30 times a game.
Right. So you're right. They're more successful most of the time when they transition over from the college game to the pros. So Jacksonville's that's one of my underdogs, man. My sleeper teams actually going into the season. I think they're gonna do well, go deep actually into the playoffs. But as far as Thursday night game, like I said, those guys we mentioned, just be aware of them.
Yep, and I got one more sleeper, guys. We missed over him. It's from the New England Patriots, and I've been liking this guy the whole time, and his name is Damiere Byrd. Arizona let him go, and New England picked him up. Guys, I like him. They have Julia Edelman to kill Harry, but Damiere Byrd is the slot receiver with that. Even though Julia Edelman plays that, but he's the number 3. And I like Damiere Byrd. Yeah. So you should pick up Damiere Byrd. I think his value is going to get more. His value is going to go up. So get him off the waiver wire. Nobody's got him on the team, most likely. So pick him up and bring him on your team. I think you're going to have a nice sleeper.
I agree. That whole offense, man, as much as being a Steelers fan, I want to say about Belichick, but one thing I can say, he's a very smart, strategic coach, and he knows how to get the best out of his players. And Cam is balling, so it's trickling down. Cam, his whole energy, his whole vibe, it's almost like it's infectious. It's really it's giving him a different outlook, a different identity from what Tom Brady when he was there.
I said this in my video. It's called Cam Newton and Bill Belichick's relationship, and it's in my YouTube playlist. Guys, check that video out. Bill Belichick is a psychiatrist, and I love what he let Cam do. You would never see that team celebrating like that. But now, this shows you Bill how he creates his team, designs his teams. So, guys, I love the New England Patriots.
Oh yeah. It'll be one to watch, man.
So, guys, thank you for tuning in to Fantasy Good Sports and checking on my waiver wires. Guys, keep subscribing to my channel. Keep liking my videos. I greatly appreciate it. It's Mac and TD. We're going to keep giving you this content. See y'all later. Peace.